What's up, people? Just a quick run through of the notes and information about Roman numerals. In stage 7, I always do Roman numerals as sort of our side project, kind of like we did gods and goddesses a few stages back. And I'm just going to run through kind of my basic presentation, and I'll point out some of the more important items that I think you need to pay attention to as you work your way through our Roman numerals throughout the stage. So what are Roman numerals? They are the numerals in the ancient Roman system of notation. So it's not the same numbers that we use. They use letters to represent numbers. So let's start with the basic symbols. I have a feeling that a few of you know many of these symbols already. But let me go through my normal explanation. So I is valued at 1. And so one of the explanations I always give is one finger, one letter, all right, is simply I. Now, we have V is 5. And one of the ways I illustrate that is here, all right, as you see that if you put your 5 fingers together like this, it makes the letter V. Then we have here that X is the symbol for 10. So take one V here, take another V, put it together, and you make like an X, and a little birdie flies away. Then we have L. There's really not much I can do for you with L, meaning 50, besides taking that 5 and turn it to the side. All right, 5, 50, 5, 50, 50, 5, 5, better 1, better 2. All right, just think of the 5 turned on its side is L. And then we have C is 100. I don't really have any fancy gestures for it, but C, think of the word century in English is a period of 100 years. M, kind of skipping one, as you can see, is a period of 1,000 years, is a millennium. So the letter D doesn't give any fancy hand gesture, doesn't have any derivative in per se that would identify it as 500, but I'll credit a student years ago who said that he or she remembered it by thinking of NASCAR. I don't know how many NASCAR fans we have, but even if you're just a general sports fan or you keep up with general news, the big NASCAR event of the year is the Daytona 500. D equals 500. So maybe that'll help you to remember that symbol. But what I really need to stress, beyond just knowing these characters and what letters correspond to what numerical values, is that it's not as simple as just knowing these and putting them together and adding them all up. There's one little twist. Sometimes you do, as you can see, add them up. If a letter is immediately followed by one of equal or lesser value, the two letters are added. So simple enough. X and X is 10 and 10. They're equal or lesser, and so that equals 20. X and V. X is 10. V is 5. 10 is larger than 5, so you add them up. It's 15. Same thing here. VI. V is 5, I is 1, 5 is obviously larger than 1, and so it equals 6. That's the easy part. So when you have, like I said, all descending order or the same, larger Roman numerals before smaller ones are the same, you just add them up. But here's the trick that gets a lot of people from the get-go. If a letter is immediately followed by one of greater value, the first is subtracted from the second. So take a look at this example. I is 1, V is 5, all right? And so since a smaller Roman numeral is coming before a larger one, you subtract it. So 5 minus 1, or 1 from 5, equals 4. XL here. X is 10, L is 50. 10 is obviously smaller than 50, so you subtract the 10 from the 50. 50 minus 10 is 40. And the last example here, C is 100, M is 1,000. 100 is obviously smaller than 1,000, so you subtract the 100 from the 1,000. 1,000 minus 100 is 900. So really, Roman numerals are relatively simple once you know the basic symbols. Really what you need to do from there is just understand the subtraction. Smaller Roman numerals before larger ones, you kind of put them together, subtract them, and factor them into the mix with the rest of the character.